Hi, welcome to Microsoft ERP Beginner Tutorial Series episode number 9. In the previous episode, we did cover about storage dimensions, tracking dimensions, and we completed the dimension and variant group setup. In this episode, we'll be focusing on the category hierarchy, category role associations, and procurement categories. Let's get started with the episode. In order to configure the category hierarchy, you need to get into the product information management module and under the setup, category and attributes, and click on the category hierarchies. So firstly, what is a category hierarchy? So in the Dynamics 365 for financial operations, it's possible for us to categorize the products into specific groups or specific categories. So it will be very easier to quickly view the products while they are well organized within different categories, and it's also useful for the purpose of reporting. And it's also possible that you can very quickly view the items under a specific category from the purchase order. And in future we will also be seeing that it is also possible, instead of just adding an item inside a purchase order, it's also possible to just add a category and purchase a service. Maybe we can create a category in the name of service and assign it to a purchase order and purchase a service instead of using an item. We can just use a category. So that's for another episode. But for now, a category hierarchy will help you to classify or categorize or group the items into different parent and sub nodes. To give you an example, there is a procurement office supply category. It's a default category available in the Microsoft demo data. So you see that there is the parent node and there is a child node, and under the child node it's also possible to have a grandchild or a sub-child node. And in here you can specify the product that's relevant to the cleaning and the products which are relevant to maybe a service product which are relevant to training, and likewise a vehicle and a tractor and a car. So you can create different products and assign it and categorize them into different categories. So once you categorize them into the different categories, in the product information management module, under the product section, you also have a classification of the release products by category. So if you get in here, you will see that your category is populated, and you will be able to also see all your items in this list based on the category. At this moment, this is a new legal entity and no release product available, so that's why it's blank. But of course we will start building this legal entity slowly in the future episode. But if you have items, then maybe if you click on the women's wear, you will see all the items related to the women's wear, and you can then drill down further and get into the dresses, tops, women's jeans, and you will be able to see the specific products based on your selection against the product category or the category hierarchy. So this is one way to classify the product. So now let's go ahead and look into how do we define a category hierarchy and how do we create a category hierarchy from the scratch. So as we know that we have created a new legal entity and we are configuring everything from the scratch in this legal entity. So again, we will create a hierarchy from the scratch. So in order for us to create a hierarchy, get into the category hierarchy and click on new button. So those who are watching from the first episode, you must be knowing that this is a automotive legal entity, that is ADC Motor. So we are going to use the examples from the automotive and heavy equipment industry, all the business scenarios. So I will be creating this category hierarchy based on the heavy equipment or automotive or the vehicle industry or automotive industry. So let me maybe create a category hierarchy with the name vehicle default category. So that's going to be my default purchase category in future. Then I will just give a description which I've already copied, so that's going to be my description, and click on create. So it's blank, so let's create a parent node. So my parent node is going to be named as let me first delete it, and I'm going to name it as a vehicle. Can also give some friendly name, delete it and just replace this. You may also give some keywords or description if needed. I'm going to just keep this setup simple, so it's going to be my parent node, just vehicle. Under my parent node, I'm going to create some sub classification. So choose the parent node and click on the new node, and you will be able to create a new node here. So my new node are going to be cars, and save it, and another node that's going to be trucks, save it, go back to the parent node, and let's create another node, say spare parts. So these are the three classifications I wanted to use. So under the car, let's further classify the car into subchild. So choose the car and then click on new category node, so you will get a new category against the car. So here we will define different brands of cars. So let's start with Ford. Go back to the main node again and click on new node, another brand. Go back to the main node now, click on new node. So keep repeating this process, so that way you can create multiple child nodes. I think I clicked on the Mercedes, so that's why it created under the Mercedes. So I will be just deleting this, delete. I wanted to create under the car, so let me choose the car and then click on the new node. So just delete it and paste it again, back to the car, a new node. Oops, sorry. Hope you understand, I'm not confusing you. Choose the car, the main node, and then click on the new node, and you can key in a new brand, save, go back to the car, click on the node and rename it to BMW. So I'll do one last node, that's going to be my Nissan, and maybe one more last, and that's my Mini. So these are some of the brand we have created against the car. So close it, and let's do the same for very quickly this time for the truck. Let's name it Isuzu truck, Scania, new node, Hitachi, last one, let's name it as Caterpillar. So that's the truck. The last but not the least is the spare part. So let's create different spare part groups. Brake, clutch, sorry, Okay, and last one, maybe two more. Let's do an engine. I'll just remove this. Just give a friendly name. And last one is going to be wheels. Okay, so that's done. So we have created a proper category from the base. So once you create a category, what is next? So this is just a category hierarchy that we have created, but my agenda is I wanted to convert this into my default procurement category. That is, I wanted to assign this category hierarchy to my procurement module and use it as my procurement category, and this category will show up during my purchase process, so I can easily filter my cars or my trucks, and I can identify my item number, and I can then go ahead and order them. So there are two things now is pending to be done. One is I need to convert this category hierarchy into a procurement hierarchy, and then I need to assign different items or products against specific group. So these are the next two steps that needs to be followed. So like at this moment, this is just a procurement hierarchy sitting in the setup level. So in order to actually view the procurement hierarchy, you need to go into the procurement and sourcing module. So if you go to the procurement and sourcing module, and under the consignment, if you click on the procurement category, you will be able to see the default procurement category. At this moment, as you can see, the Microsoft demo data is displayed as a procurement category. We don't see our setup, that is our category hierarchy here, because we have not defined our category hierarchy as a default procurement category. So that's the reason I'm not able to see it here. So how do I assign it to a procurement module or as a procurement category so that I can go ahead and use it for the procurement processes? We have just a small setup in the product information management module. So going back to the product information management module, so we have already defined our category hierarchy here. So after defining our category hierarchy here, second step is get into the category hierarchy role association. If you go in here, you will see that at the moment there is a default category assigned as a category hierarchy, the procurement category hierarchy. So if you get into this default hierarchy, you will see the one that we've just witnessed in the procurement and sourcing module. So this is the reason why at the moment the procurement sourcing module is displaying this category hierarchy. So now we need to change it to the one we created today. Okay, so it is not possible within the Microsoft Dynamics 365 to assign two different category hierarchy against the procurement hierarchy. Okay, so the procurement category hierarchy will only have one category hierarchy at the time. So at the moment we have a default category hierarchy against the procurement category hierarchy. So we first need to remove this. So if I add two lines of procurement category hierarchy with two different category hierarchy, the system will not let me save. System will give me error because it will be duplicated. Okay, so let me first delete this procurement category hierarchy and get rid of my existing demo data and add a new line, and you will see that there are different fixed options provided by Microsoft. So the category hierarchy can be assigned to a sales module where you can use it for selling your product. So during the sales hierarchy, you will have a separate sales hierarchy. Similarly, you will have a separate procurement hierarchy. You can have a separate retail hierarchy. You can have a separate projects hierarchy. So you can have different levels of hierarchy in each module within Microsoft Dynamics 365. So how it is made possible is by assigning procurement hierarchy accordingly against every single section here. Okay, so for the procurement category or for the procurement module to show your category hierarchy, you need to choose the procurement category hierarchy. If you wanted to create a new hierarchy and assign it to a sales module, then you need to assign it against a sales category hierarchy. If you want a retail, then you have a retail channel navigation, retail vendor, product hierarchy, etc. So for this moment, let's focus on the procurement category hierarchy. So I'm going to just choose the procurement categories option and search for my newly created category hierarchy. We named it as a vehicle default hierarchy, so I'm choosing it and saving the screen. And I'll go back. So now we have mapped our newly created category hierarchy to the procurement module. So if I now go into the procurement and sourcing module, let's check that out. Procurement and sourcing module, and click under the consignment. If you click on the procurement category, you will see that our newly created category now displays. Yeah, so now we are ready to maybe assign the product for every brand and every spare parts and every single truck. So you can assign the product through the screen by clicking on the add button and assign a product, or we have different ways also to assign a product to this category. So after finishing this two setup, it's possible for us to just get into the products. um, let me search for one of my product. It begins with P. So it's a power brake. So let me click on the product category. We will discuss all this option in detail in maybe episode number 11. So do watch the episode number 11 to know more about how to create a product and what are the all the buttons all about. But I'll just quickly for you to get an idea, I'm going to quickly show you something. So when you choose a product and click on the product categories, you will be able to just edit it and assign a category here. So we will assign vehicle default category, and let's assign it to a spare part, and it's a brake, so let me assign it to the brake. So when you assign it to the brake and go back and check the check our category under the procurement and sourcing, and under the consignment procurement category, and you just open the spare parts and check the brake, you will see that the item is added here. But it could be a bit tedious to get into every single product and assign a category. So the easiest way is directly add all the items relevant to each category from here, and that way it's very fast and more easier to do that. So that's about the category hierarchy role association and procurement categories. Hope you enjoyed. In the next episode, we will explore more about the product attributes and product attributes type, and what are they, and what are the uses of them, and continue the setup from here. Thanks for watching this episode. See you again in the next episode.